Record just bet. All right, so what's happening? Welcome in. Common Grounds
You?
virtual little session we got going on.
Hey,
Mm, it's your boy BG, Rock Official on the other side of the screen, man. I'm
yes,
excited to be
Lord.
here, man. It's been a cool little minute since we recorded, bro. How you doing?
Man, ripping and running. Like I always tell people though, man, we on this side of the grave, so it's a good day.
For
So
sure.
it's always good to connect, brother. As always, it's always good to connect with good people. And I think we have somebody that's very, very unique joining, somebody unique to you as well. So I don't think we've had an episode where we actually got to dive into some of the goodies that are your life, bro. So I think this would be pretty dope.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I'm excited just for a lot of different things. Like you said, like this somebody that, I hold near and dear to my heart personally, professionally, but also just another comrade in the space that we know so well. You know what I mean? So I'm interested to
Thanks.
see like what conversations strike up, what we really dig into and we really start talking about, the dynamics of coaching and all those different things like that. So I'm excited to see where the conversation takes us. But he's not on the recording yet, y'all. I'm about to buzz him in, but I wanted to typically I would do like a regular intro, you know what I mean? Like this is so and so, yada yada. But man, I really want to give him his flowers when he jump on here. So when he get on, I want him to hear the things that I want to articulate and let him hear because I think that's important. So I'll give y'all his name. We're gonna be sitting down with Joey Glenn. He is the owner and operator and everything in between, entrepreneur, coach, clinician. I mean, the man does it all. Somebody that I take great joy in being able to sit down with. So without further ado, man, I'm gonna stop talking for the moment and I'm gonna go ahead and buzz him in real quick. So y'all hang tight.
Hey,
Do it. Get my boy in here. So, go ahead and jump in.
yeah, little Joey.
Josephus.
Yo, Cephas.
Gonna sit back and wait for my guy. You be raw. Got me a little wine tonight, bro. Yeah, it's been one of them weeks, man.
Boy,
Been one of
hey,
them
I got
weeks, my boy.
man. I had to put that wine down, man.
Yeah.
I had to put it down, bro. It started tasting a little too good, man. And then I started making it like a part of my decor. I started putting it like up in my kitchen so it would speak to me every day. I said, man, let me put this up,
Oh,
bro.
not so it speak to you. That's crazy.
What? Man.
So you can chop it up with it. That's crazy.
What? That Santa Margarita Pinot Grigio mixed with the
Yeah,
orange juice. Ah,
yeah,
I blame Drake, bro.
yeah.
I
I be
blame
doing
Drake.
it. I be doing it, but I be trying to look sophisticated. That's all.
What? Got the
I
Morpheus
get to
going.
get the rolling it around. You know what I mean? Y'all hang tight, man. We coming. Like I said, I wanted him to make. Not send an email. Man, y'all getting this live in the flesh. All right, here we go. This is what we gonna do.
Back. No edits. No
No
edit.
edits.
We're gonna let everybody know this is organic.
Hot off the press. All right. Let me see. What'd he say? Better yet, I do you one better, brother. Do you one better? Here it is.
Bling bow.
Did send it via email. Yeah, your boy got me a little mic now. You know what I mean, trying to be official. Oh, there he is. There you go. There you go. Here you come.
Yeah. Always the audio first.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he gonna buzz in.
Dang. You can see us. For sure.
Reconnect to the audio.
Mm-hmm.
Yo,
Brother,
what's going
Oh,
on, man?
what's going on, my guy?
How are you?
Man, I can't call it, brother. Everything is going good. I like your little setup, man. You got you a nice little
Yeah.
spot going on.
Yeah, golly, I need to get me a mic. God dog.
It's become like my home, like away from home. When I'm
Yeah,
outside the office, I gotta have all these Zoom meetings. This helps a lot.
yeah. That's at the crib. Where you at right now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah. See, y'all got the good spaces. I'm in here in the bathroom. Like, man, crazy.
Hey, making it work. I like
Yeah,
it. This is the first one you've
absolutely,
done
man.
on Zoom, though.
Say what?
This is the first one you've done on Zoom.
Yeah, this our first one, man. Typically, we try to at least sit down with our guests live. We've been blessed in the sense where being out here in Texas, man, a lot of our connects and stuff like that are out here. So, it's a lot easier to sit down with those folks. But honestly, man, you kind of sparking something different because we probably should have been doing this a long time ago because we got folks all over the place. And I don't want to limit, the type of people we get access to because they can't fly in or we can't get to them. Like this ain't that type of podcast, brother. Like we ain't cutting no checks for nobody yet.
That's all right. I can find a million reasons to make it down there sometimes. So love to do it at some point.
Yeah, you always welcome. Well, hey man, appreciate you being on, man. It's an honor, man. We're super excited. Rock, Joey, Rock.
My
Uh,
Hey,
man.
nice to meet you. I've heard a lot about you and been following you guys' stuff since Brandon moved down there. So
Yeah,
it's
for
good to
sure.
yeah,
face to
My
yeah,
face.
man.
yeah. Well, hey, I was just telling everybody before you jumped on that. I really wanted to take a moment, and this is probably gonna be the most that I talk consecutively, y'all. So just bear with me. But really wanted to make sure that I gave you your flowers, Joe, and I wanted you to hear it. And before I just jumped into asking questions and all that kind of stuff like that. So, kind of kick your feet up for a little bit and just take your pleasantries for a while while I throw some rose petals at your feet. But
Uncomfortable part, but I'll take it, man.
yeah, but I think, and I'll try and make this as quick as possible, y'all, so I don't get too long-winded. But Joe, obviously, you know a lot more about me than probably a lot of people that see us operate on this platform know about me because there's been a lot of different changes, a lot of different versions of myself that I've had to kind of, walk through and so on and so forth. But I always tell people, man, I cannot tell the story of Brandon as far as my career goes and things that nature, even personally, man. But I can't, legitimately tell my story without mentioning one engineer performance and also Joey Glenn and the Glenn family, man. So, for those that don't know this about me, right? I'm going to give y'all the Cliff Notes version, but it's 2016. I retired from playing ball. Um, Trying to figure out what's next, man. Don't really have any guidance, don't have any experience in anything besides being on the diamond. And we're just trying to make a way, man, trying to figure out what was next for me and was just not getting any luck anywhere. I had a completely bleak resume, nothing on my resume at all. Never worked a day in my life. All I have is experience playing ball and a degree that I don't really know how to use. So, like, I try and tell athletes today to not do what I did. You know what I mean? Where being all locked in and focused on your craft is good. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that, but there should be some thought, to okay, what am I going to do? Where do my interests lie? Where do my giftings lie? I was somebody that did the total opposite. So man, I was just trying to scramble, figure it out. And long story short, I want to take the entrepreneurial route. So I'm like, I'll open up a training facility. I know those spaces. I got to train there while I was playing from high school days all the way up through college. So I trained at the Exos before I ended up working for Exos. You know what I mean? So at the same location I ended up working at, I trained at when I was playing. So like, just got to see the top of the top, see how it can kind of do its thing. And that was kind of on my vision board, right? It was like, okay, I want to create this type of space because I knew I wanted to work with athletes. Um, Not necessarily want to coach, but still wanted to be able to basically be like a liaison for them, right? And be able to just holistically serve them and give them what they needed. So at the time, I'm thinking, y'all just open up my own space because nobody else giving me a shot. So if I'm a strike out, I want to strike out with my own bat. So, I'm like, okay, let's do this thing. Iowa comes to mind. I got family in Iowa. I'll spend time out there. I'm like, hey, maybe I could bring something, fresh, unique, yada, yada, all that kind of stuff. We have something lined up. Things fall through the cracks at the last minute. I have to pivot. another location out there in Grimes reaches out to me. They want to bring me on board. Mind you, to this point, I don't have a kines degree. I don't have a sports anything degree, right? So anybody that would bring me on as a coach was like, you just got to get your licensure and all those different things like that a certain amount of time. Cool. I was already working on that. But man, I was so raw, man. I was getting mine off like Ace, bro. Like I was like, man, like just anything to get me in the door, brother. I know there's better ones out there, and at some point I'll get it, but just to get in, I mean, let me get this little Ace license and get on about my business. And long story short, man, that situation was not ideal for me. That I was there, had to manage a lot of conflict while I was there and stuff. But um, you know, it's kind of crazy. I was in the space where I was really trying to learn so much about the craft and how to become a good coach and how to see how that type of the business can be ran. And I don't even know if you noticed, Joe. I went on you guys' contact us page, so just your web page, right? And I scrolled all the way down to like the contact us page, and that's how I initially reached out. And I think I had said something along the lines of like, just shot my shot. I just moved out here from Texas, and this is what I've done. Man, I just want to come in. I want to learn. I was like, man, I'll come sweep the floors, bro. I don't really care. I just kind of just want to be in the midst of everybody, right? And Joe hit me back, and he's like, "Yo, we don't got no opportunities for you to come work, but you mentioned an internship, right? You're like, we're about to launch our first internship. If you're interested, I can send you some more information." That's all I needed, man. I jumped right in the car, drive over to the location, right? Because I'm like, man, I want to see it, I want to smell it, I want to feel it, all that kind of stuff like that. Walk in, it's as advertised. It's nice, it's clean, it's professional, everything in between. And get to shake your hand. We have a conversation, we talk, and man, it was really that quick, man. Joe was just like, yo, basically like, man, if you want it, it's yours. Be here on Monday. And I was like, damn, like I just get my first internship. Never had an internship before, and better yet, I'm doing it here. Like this is kind of crazy. This man don't even really know me. He don't know my character. I could be a jagoff man in here and just destroy the brand. You know what I mean? Like you have no idea. But um, nonetheless, man, it was a great experience. I always tell people this important thing about engineer performance, especially during my internship while I was there. There was a season of my life where I think I was confidence was low, second guessing myself, trying to figure out where I fit in, everything like that. And I was extremely nervous to start the internship, right? Because I'm like, I'm around these brilliant clinicians, right, that know so much stuff. And I don't know anything. All I know is like what it should feel like and what it should look like. You know what I mean? When it comes from movement perspectives, right? But I got Billy as my teacher who's like the sensei, you know what I mean? Right. So I'm like, I gotta jump into it with that situation. And I remember, after we would coach our classes, Billy would have us on a whiteboard and be like, hey, build the movement prep out, build our main lift, build our auxiliary lifts. Like, man, those were the moments where I used to just be like, bro, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, this sucks. Like, but what I will say though is one, Billy was so patient with me. And I think if he didn't have just the demeanor and just, how Billy is, man, like if he just didn't have that aura to himself, along with the knowledge, I think immediately I would have sensed it. And really the whole staff, from Billy to you to Matt to M, everybody. Like I think if I would have felt a sense of y'all being like, man, what he doing here? Like he don't really know what he doing. I kind of was already had this preconceived notion where I was kind of looking for that feel. So I think if I would have sensed it, I wouldn't have come back, bro. Like I'm just gonna be honest with you. Like y'all probably would have saw me like once or twice. Not like, nah, I'm not dealing with that, bro. Like I don't want to feel that stupid. But you guys never made me feel that way, man. And that really set the tone for my appreciation, not just for the company, but more so for you guys just personally, man. And I always tell people, man, like you are the gold standard to me when I think about a facility, how it functions, the staff, everything in between, man. I really say that. I'm not just saying that because you're my boy. Like I really do look at you as like a gold standard and what you guys have built. So I'm gonna stop talking. I know I kind of said a mouthful, but I definitely wanted to just say thank you, man. And I appreciate what you built. I appreciate your impact that you had on me professionally, personally, everything in between, man. So that's my 2 cents, brother.
Humbled, brother. Humbled. You make me sit there and listen to it, and I will.
Yeah,
I love hearing it because it's funny when you tell. I've heard you say something similar before,
yeah.
and when you tell me or when you say it, it sounds like my story, dude. It's like
Mhm.
exactly what we did. It's exactly what I did. It's exactly what everybody that I've hired has done. So I
Yeah,
think you'll never feel that from my people because that's who they are too. Like
yeah.
I think if you don't have a bit of imposter syndrome, you are an imposter, dude. You
Mm,
should feel like you're out of your element. And
mm,
I've always felt the same way. Like if you feel like you're the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room, right? And so I know I love that. I love people that are just eager and want to get after it. And clearly saw that in you right away. And I think you can teach a monkey how to be a good strength coach and a good clinician. Honestly, it doesn't take a whole hell of a lot outside of just being able like to want it, have a little bit of eagerness, somebody that's like really interested in the craft. Like outside of that, you're golden. I tell people all the time, our interns or our strength coaches would have been the best clinicians I graduated with by far. And it's just because it's the right people. This stuff
mm,
is rocket science, truly.
mm, I love that. What you got, Rock?
Well, I'll say I'm just giggling because you're like, man, that's my 2 cents. I'm like, man, that's more like $20. But no, no, I'm just curious to learn more. Obviously, I'm doing something pretty similar, just in a different part of the country, right? And I'm a young gun up and coming. Um, I'm pretty sure, as you probably know, to some effect, I haven't been doing this nearly as long as you, brother. And I think a lot of people mistaken that I have. So I'm just wanting to get into the goodies of who you are, really. Man, obviously, this man here is my brother in so many different avenues. Most importantly, my brother in Christ, and so to know that you've poured into him as a person first and foremost, and then secondly as a professional, man, I'm just curious to know more about you and your story and how you got to where you got spiritually, so that you can be the person that you are mentally and also as a professional. Really.
Yeah, Joey, just give us that breakdown, man. Tell us a story, a little Joe, man. How this
I
come
mean, little
about?
Joe's the right way to put it, because that's when it starts, right, dude? I was so small. I was so
Yeah.
small in high school. I loved sports, and I was just too damn small to compete at a high level, and it frustrated me. I always tell people when I first started high school, I was a freshman. I weighed 84 pounds, which
Jesus, bro.
absolutely blows my mind, dude. I've got a 9-year-old now who weighs more than that. So I don't understand how that happened. And I loved wrestling, which was even worse because, we had weight classes. Lowest one at the time was 103. So I was just getting my ass kicked and, doing what I could. Loved it, but still not competing where I wanted to be. And that was frustrating though, because at the time, like I had the support of my parents, like they would, they wanted to help me, but they didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
My strength coach at the time was like grossly misinformed. He didn't know what he was doing. And so I was a 14-year-old, like trying hard. We didn't have nearly the resources even on the internet as we do now. So I was, going to the library, renting out like Arnold's encyclopedia and like that type of stuff, trying to figure it out, bringing protein shakes to school and like mixing it with my milk, not knowing what I was doing. And so that was really frustrating. And then it like, it went on. I finally hit a growth spurt. I was able to wrestle and compete at a level I wanted to, but then I got injured and it was just that whole repeat cycle again, just on the injury side. So I tore my labrum in my shoulder and went to, a pill or a mill physical therapy clinic where they just weren't helping me at all. I was doing like getting double booked next to like middle-aged men who were just trying to go back to like desk jobs. And we were doing the same stretches and it was miserable. And so it's funny that I got into this profession because most people like in it usually got into it because they had a really good experience with physical therapy. And I
Mm,
got into it because I had a really bad experience with physical therapy. I was like, this is
mm.
terrible. There's got to be something way better than this. And that kind of ended my entire like all my aspirations as an athlete. But what kind of it sparked and what filled me up after that was like, man, I didn't quite find the answers, but that's just what I'm going to do from now on. I'm going to go find out what I wanted, what I missed, and I'm going to try to like be the answer for the next kid.
Yeah.
And that's what I did, man. I went from there to the University of Iowa, studied exercise science. Then I went out to LA and I was an intern with Athletes Performance at Exos.
Hmm.
Loved it. Like, I mean, the story on how I eventually got in there was kind of funny because what happened was when I was at Iowa, I was taking like a strength and conditioning class and just miserable. I hated it because, again, like we were reading, I don't know, what we were learning just wasn't it. I knew it wasn't like how to perform as an athlete. It was like bodybuilding splits and like just really basic knowledge that I knew I've already tried and it didn't help. And so I always tell people too, my dad is an awesome person and somehow just always on the forefront of things.
Yeah.
He does so I remember I was at school and he sent me a book written by Mark Verstegen. I remember reading that and I was like, dude, this is it. This is what I was missing. I want to learn more about this. And so what I did is I just like, I was naive as hell. I didn't know what I was doing. So I just called Athletes Performance out in LA and I just started bothering them like, hey, I want to work with you guys.
Yeah.
Like, what can I do to be around you people? And I remember the lady that answered the phone. Her name was Jules,
Mm.
Jules Erickson. She answered. She was like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome. Like, we take interns every summer. We take three of them. Currently, we have almost 300 applicants for this summer."
Wow.
Yeah. I was like, no, like, oh, okay, I guess that's out. But what I did was I just bothered. I was no more qualified than anybody else, and
Mm.
I just like harassed them. I called them
Yeah.
like every day, like seeing where I was in this in the lineup, and then I think eventually just to get me off their case, they gave me the internship, which was awesome. So I graduated, went out there, and started working there. And as you guys know, like I thought what I was seeing there, like what you just kind of mentioned, like as my North Star at the time, I was like, oh, it's a breath of fresh air. Like this is athletes training to be athletes. And then on the injury side, when people were getting injured, I shadowed a physical therapist out there who I thought was just brilliant. I
Yeah.
was like, finally, like these people are doing something that I was looking for. So I did what you did, man. I just went in like, I went in real green and just
Mm.
said, I'll spend every waking moment out here. Like I don't know anybody in LA, so as
Yeah.
much as you let me be here, I'm going to be here. So,
Mm.
and I did, and I loved it. And that spiraled so that eventually, when I was in grad school and all of that, I just continued to stay in touch with those people and spend as much time out and with Exos people as possible. And it kind of grew from there, man. And
Yeah.
eventually, I wanted to bring it back home.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that, bro. Rock, do you know that? Did you know he spent some time at API and all that back in the day?
Nah, I had no idea. I was just gonna
Yeah.
ask, like, when you were
Yeah.
there, were you directly with Mark, or like who was the performance director out there?
Anthony Slater was his name. I don't know
Okay,
if
okay.
he's around anymore or where he's at. That
I
dude
don't
was.
think so.
Mark would walk in every now and then, and it was to me, it was like a superstar, like walking in. Like I was
Right.
just starstruck.
Yeah.
I only got to work with him a couple of times or meet him, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because the first time that I met Mark, I think it's pretty similar. I mean, not to be blasphemous, but it was like he walked on water to me. Like I was just like,
Oh, oh,
it's
I
like the
thought,
dude, like floated when he first walked in. I'm like, yo, like this is the dude that scaled this thing. This is the dude, to your point, that wrote all the books and all that stuff, man. So it's really really cool to hear that. I mean, just like you, Exos kind of kickstarted my career too, so that's pretty dope.
love that. Yeah, I love that. They've always been to me like that North Star a little bit. Like I remember then when I got into business and CrossFit was exploding, I would often like, the new like fun, shiny thing that would show up on Instagram and everybody would jump on. I'd also be like, is Exos doing it yet? Because if not, I'm gonna hold off because they
Yeah.
seem to like keep things rational. Like they always ended up doing what worked, not just what sold. And I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Right. I find, and I know Brandon can attest to this. I'm gonna let you get in here, B. I
Now
promise.
you
I'm just
straight. Do
trying.
your thing, bro. Do your thing. You
We
straight.
about to get. I feel like we about to start cooking a little bit, but
Yeah.
I always found too, like they were always when they weren't. Let me rephrase that. They always seem to be ahead of the curve. But to your point, when the new shiny thing, the thing that was cool to do, when they seemed as if they weren't ahead of the curve, they always find a way from a results perspective to stand the test of time. So to your point, I'm like you, man. They're the North Star. They're gonna always be the gold standard when it comes to methodology and things like that. And as you know, man, I feel like all of us Exos folks, not to say that there aren't other good professionals out there, but I find that there's a certain standard of excellence that we individually, even now, aside from the company, that we all kind of carry ourselves with. So I think it's pretty dope how they kind of feed into us in that regard. And it's always nice to meet other Exos people too. So
Absolutely. And I totally agree. I think they like instill that level of excellence in you. Like to go back again to CrossFit, when it was exploding right around the time that I had just opened up my facility, I remember it was like the cool thing, like everybody was doing CrossFit with like grungy, like warehouses and rusty barbells.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
remember thinking like, no, I want that nice stuff. I want the nice equipment. I want to take care of my stuff. I want to mop the floors. Like that meant more to me. And I think it was because of that upbringing with them where they cared about their stuff and the way it was presented. I love that. I was attracted to it, and I think everybody that was there was the same way.
for sure, for sure. B.
Nah, that's good, man. Hey, cook, bro. I'm chilling, man. But you kind of hit on there a little bit, Joe. Like I really want to know because I don't even know if I know this about you, brother. Like, where did the vision for engineer performance come from? Like I understand what you just articulated, where you say, it really came from a place of lack in a sense, right? Where you're like, there could be more to this space, there could be more to treatment, there could be more to all these different things as far as serving athletes, and helping people with injury. But where did the overall vision from engineer performance come from? Because if I'm not mistaken, you also come from a pretty long family or lineage in the sense of entrepreneurs, right? So was that something that was, in the back of your head, knowing that I have this desire to operate in this space and bring this breath of fresh air to the space. However, I also have confidence because I've seen from my family and people around me that I can be a business owner. I can build something that can last.
Yeah, man, I love that question because I love talking about my parents because they were such an influence on exactly that for me. So growing up, I think they instilled two things. The first thing being like a sense of work ethic that was
Mhm.
like pretty tireless. Like I remember growing up, we didn't have much, and my dad would work so hard. He'd wake up in the morning, he'd deliver newspapers,
Yeah.
and he'd go to this job at Citibank, which he just despised. And then at night, he would go and mop floors at commercial buildings.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, he worked all the time. And then I would, I'd go with him sometimes. He'd give me like $5 to help clean a building and stuff like that. And I thought he was, I looked at that like I was starstruck in the moment, just like, man, that's it. Like you got to work. But at the same time, I saw how truly miserable he was doing that stuff. Like he was doing what he had to do to provide, but he wasn't happy. And in the morning he would struggle to get out of bed. It was not where he wanted to be.
Yeah.
And my mom, on the other hand, she was working very hard building somebody else's business,
Yeah.
and it was very successful, but it was all on her back, and she wasn't being rewarded for it. So I watched that, and then what I remember so clearly, my mom coming home one day decided, that's it. We're gonna go into business for ourselves. I know how to do this. I'm already running this business. We're gonna do it on our own. And I remember so clearly they're sitting on the bed and they got this graph paper out and they start writing down just the makings of a business plan. And I watched it and just that immediate moment, they like start, my dad was happy. Like he was
Mhm.
smiling, he was like really excited. And I
Yeah.
thought, man, this is a big vision and they're already convinced they've succeeded. I thought that was so cool. And I watched it succeed, man. They blew it up. They built to five big centers, a massive childcare development and daycare here in
Yeah.
Ended up having five of them. They actually just retired and sold that business this year, and it was just a massive success, man. And so, yeah, it definitely gave me this like confidence. I was old enough to see all that happen, right? And
Yeah.
so, it definitely gave me this confidence. Like I said, it gave me this sense of work ethic, and then it gave me this confidence that like, oh, if you're gonna do it like you said with your own bat, like
Yeah.
build it yourself and go for it because it's gonna work as long as like you're willing to suffer a little bit and
Mhm.
put it in work. And so, yeah, I mean, the vision then was built from that sense of what's missing. And if I can't get it, I'm gonna get it for somebody else. Now that I have those opportunities, so I went and learned from the best people I thought in the world. I went with this with strength and conditioning side on at Exos, and then on the clinical side, when I realized like I didn't know what to do with people that were injured, I started finding who I thought was the best. And again, just following them around like a puppy, dude. I would call people and bother them until they would like let me just travel around with them and be around them all the time. So I
Yeah.
spent several years doing that.
Mhm.
And I found people who I just idolized and just like started copying what they were doing and putting it together. And then, I was tempted at the end of my time in California because I was offered to stay and purchase the business that I was working in as an extern at the end of my clinical education. And that was tempting because it was a beautiful spot. I loved it. They're working with pro athletes. We had the contract with the Padres at the time, and
Mhm.
so I loved it. But at the same time, I was like, my vision was to give this back to my people in the Midwest, get back to
Mhm.
Iowa, the people they didn't have this, and so we did. And at the same time, right around then, my wife and I got pregnant with my daughter Callie, and so we decided to move back home, be close to family, and then really go for this thing. And so we did.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that, man. Did you at the time, because I'm trying to think, what year was this? What year would this have been?
I graduated from Cairo School in 2010. Or
Okay.
no, 2013, sorry. Iowa 2010, 2013 from Cairo.
Okay. Okay. Because I
Yeah.
feel like, so I graduated high school 2012. Um, and I feel like I said, I trained at the Exos or Athletes Performance at that time before they even went to Exos. But I was at API. I was at Michael Johnson Performance Center, like all these different places like that. And I feel like even in a big metro like Texas, I feel like they kind of pioneered that kind of in the North Texas landscape in a sense, right? I
Mhm.
didn't really hear or see really any other competition at that time, right? So when you think about your idea and your vision of bringing what you learned in California back to Iowa, was there anybody else kind of doing what? you do now, or was Engineer Performance kind of the first to kind of like jumpstart that kind of in the area, in the Des Moines Metro at least? Like,
We really were. There was a bunch of like, I don't know, there's people trying to do it, but it was just so off.
yeah,
Like some boot camp, like kettlebell boot camp type things going on. There was like this, I call it mock kickboxing. It's like it's not how you train to be a football player. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
so, and that was going on. And then we had, CrossFit started coming on the scene right around then. And then there was one other place that's still around, Acceleration Iowa, and they
Mhm.
were around even when I was in high school.
Okay.
And I always tell people, I mean, I honestly think they just got complacent. Like they were ahead of their time at the time when I was in high school, and then they just stopped learning, stopped evolving, and never changed. And we blew right past them. So when we came in, we said, this is the way that they're doing it at the best places in the world. And we always say this. I said it in my team meeting today, which is funny. If we're doing the same thing a year from now that we're doing today, we have messed up. Like we have to
Mhm.
constantly be evolving and getting better. And I think that's testament to who we are at Engineer Performance for sure. And at the same time, I always laugh when people like are emulating what we do. I always love that. I'm like, please, because there's a lot of kids here. We all need to build this up. But at the same time, if you start doing what we're doing today, you're behind because we're changing. And I think that's the
Mhm.
philosophy
Mhm.
you have to have in this space right now. So no, man, there was no way doing it. And there's people now coming along a little bit, which I think is only a good thing.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Rock, what you got to that? Because I know you got your own business that you pumping, man. So
Yeah, I mean, for me, um, out here in the Dallas metro area, I don't want to say I'm late. I don't really believe in late, from a faith perspective. I think we're right where we're supposed to be. But to Brandon's point, you know, um, at one point Exos was doing it the way that they were doing it, and they were the only ones out here doing it that way, right? And now when you look at the landscape of this market, everybody is trying to do it, emulate and or compete in a way. And I said something a while back on my Instagram platform. I said, some people aren't necessarily better. Some people are just first. And I say that because there is benefit to being first if you do it well.
Yep.
But in order to do it well, there has to be pitfalls, especially when you're talking about, a market and a demographic of folks who have never seen it before. Like I'm from a very, very small town. If I tried to do what I'm doing now, I mean, I would probably set myself back a couple of years developmentally from an infrastructure perspective, right? So I guess my question would be for you, like, you were able to embark upon being first. You were also able to do first well and better than everybody else. But there had to be some pitfalls. What were those pitfalls that you feel you encountered, early on? Because it sounds like, the people in Des Moines had never seen anything like that before. And now, I mean, I'm looking at your jersey, you have George Kittle and Coop coming in, so like, what's that like?
Yeah. Oh man, it's funny you say that because I do a little bit of like business consulting now for people that are out of Cairo school, PT school, or strength and conditioning and trying to do their own thing. And I always start with like, I'm going to tell you what not to do. I know a lot more of what not to do than what to do. I made a lot of mistakes out of the gate. I'd say the very first one that like was a shock to my system was there was a mentor, one of the guys I told you in California that I kind of followed around all the time. He was extremely successful and ahead of me by like 20 years. And he was doing everything so well in California. Then he moved to Denver, started a clinic, built it up, sold it. Actually, he's in the Dallas area now, and just a brilliant dude. And I remember when I was starting my business, he told me along the way, he's like, are you scared shitless? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, good. Then you've gone big enough. And he's like, I don't want you to stop until you're like really scared. And I think I took that to an extreme because I respected him to like any degree. I would have done anything he said. And so, yeah, we went huge, dude. I mean, I built the building out of the gate, just kind of really put everything on the table right away and just said, let's see if this works. Because if not, I'm going to put everything into it. And at the time, like I'm a young family. My daughter wasn't even born yet. And I thought, when else will I ever have the opportunity that if I fall on my face, I'll be able to get back up. I'm not hurting anybody else. So I went in. If I was going to do it again right now, and the advice I usually give people is not to go that heavy until you understand the market a little bit. I got very lucky that we had some early adopters and some people that really just the community really did embrace us. I think that's a testament a little bit to the people that I'm around in terms of like the Ankeny area. That people around here just they seem pretty eager for something new. Like they, we're good. The kids in Iowa, I always tell people, are extremely skilled at
They
sports,
are. They are.
but they're not like they're not the most physical ones. They run into like bad. They run into a brick wall when they go, compete in Texas where kids are training year round. They've been used to it, and they run into a physicality barrier, I think. And so what was cool is I think they noticed that. And as soon as we started giving them something that's like, hey, let's just build up like developmentally sound athletes, and then you make them better basketball players, better football players. They just kind of swarmed to that, and it helped a lot. I would say I also like focused just really heavy out of the gate on the quality of the product. And I tried again trying to use like Exos as a North Star. I tried to do a good job of not jumping on like every hot trend that seemed to be popular in the moment if I didn't like fully believe in it because it just felt like authentic and it didn't sell because
Yeah.
I didn't believe in it. I
Yeah.
had some good advice from a mentor once who told me he's like, you got to imagine there's a projector out the back of your head onto the wall behind you. And anything you're saying, no matter what you're saying, the person that you're talking to can see it behind you and they know exactly what you're thinking regardless. And so I always like took that to heart. Like if I don't fully believe in what I'm selling right now or what I'm saying, the person's going to read it and they're going to feel that. And so I refused to give and wouldn't do things that I didn't believe in. And I think that kept us like I think people saw that and they were attracted to it out of the gate. And so I was a fan of that. I think the next thing that we did really, really well is I got lucky with just the right people. I had the perfect hires. I think they were attracted to what we were doing. And when I brought them on, like the people you named at the beginning of this, man, Billy, Matt, Emily, like they came on and it wasn't even like I wasn't even looking for people. They just were attracted to what we were doing and they were the right people and they just brought that energy where they felt the same way. They were willing to take, massive pay cuts. These guys weren't, I wasn't able to pay them nearly what they could have got at the mill next door. But they came in because they believed in what we were doing, and that that was all over their face and everything they did. They were on Twitter asking kids how they were feeling after a knee injury, like right away.
Wow.
And you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
after every state championship, we were at the state championship games and giving high fives and hugs, and like they cared. And I think that was my biggest piece of success was honestly getting lucky with just the absolute best people.
Man, you made me think about something I wanted to at least, I don't even know if it's a question. Maybe it's another bravo to you, man. You talk about the people that you have brought into the fold of engineer performance. The names you mentioned. Um, yeah, you say you're lucky, but it seemed like you got something that that you're using. Like you got a barometer that you're using when it comes to having certain type of individuals working for engineer performance because we know this space, right? There's a lot of turnover in this space as well, right? Whether it's from the coach, clinician, because it's just that type of business, right? It's a little volatility to it, right? Where you got to get paid more, or maybe another opportunity comes. You might go to the collegiate level, professional level, whatever the case may be. So usually the clinician or the coach is always kind of looking, past you a little bit, like, okay, like, so what's next outside of this? However, even in that turnover, right? It just seems that like you keep getting individuals that come through the door that like I don't know if your vetting process is that legit or if it really is just your product, which I think is both, right? I think you may not say like I don't vet that well, but I still think you do, man. I think you got a good judgment of character. But at the same time, I think it's also a testament to like your product is that good that it seems like you attract a certain type of individual into that building. I've seen the different heads that have been there. I've been in and out of there, right? And all those different things like that. And it just always blows my mind. I sit here and I talk to my wife sometimes. I like, look at what they're doing, man. And I never see, sense, feel the drop off in integrity of the business, a drop off in how you guys are selling the business, how you're taking care of these athletes, man. So speak to that, bro. What's that magic? Because there's something there, bro. I feel like there has to be something there. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's what I said earlier, what I saw in you. It's that eagerness. I think it's a twofold thing. I think number one, people are people I like to be around are the people that are attracted to what we're doing.
mhm.
We care. I always tell people at Engineer Performance, like our number one priority is the athlete, whatever they need. And we focus on building a team around that athlete. And so you can feel the fact that we care about them. It's not about selling the next membership, it's about what can we do for the kid in here that needs our help.
Yeah.
And I think the right people are attracted to that. And when they come around, you know it. You see them and you're like, oh, this person's here for the right reasons. They care. They really want to be a part of this. And man, I am trying like as the director of what I'm doing right now, I feel like my goal is just like help the clinicians and the coaches get to where they want to be. And if
Yeah.
that's beyond us, that's great. But right now we're able to provide them avenues where they're like being able to build up their own brand or build up like some really cool things in the space, bring this industry forward, even
Yeah.
within walls. And I love that. I just want to like foster that and create that. I had a meeting last night or yesterday, just had coffee with a former coach of ours with Adam.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Great dude. And he mentioned that he said that he's dealing with some employer, or he's had some employers since that he hasn't been excited for like to work for.
Yeah.
And he said the biggest thing that he noticed was that I cared about what he was doing and was at bat for him. And I feel like that's it's not like a conscious thing I'm doing all the time, but I think it's definitely like what I feel is my purpose as the director of the space. And it's just to like help them kind of reach their goals because the more fulfilled they are, the more fulfilled work they're going to do with our
Hmm.
athletes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always felt that like personally, like when I was, when I was doing it all, when I was treating and training there at the beginning, I like gave my best work to all the athletes like that I just connected to,
Yeah.
like wrestlers are my people. If I had a wrestler like the 12th patient that day, 12th patient was still getting great work. But if
Mhm.
I had like a hip replacement,
Yeah.
it was like they might got the same thing the person before me. And I didn't like that. It felt
Mhm.
like disintegratist, right? I was like, this is not who I am, not the quality I want to be. So when I built it up, I would hire people that specifically wanted to work with a specific group of people that we wanted to work with. So,
Yes.
Matt, with soccer players, I really love the soccer community around here. And Matt was in that space. I'm like, dude,
Mhm.
get in here because I want you only treating soccer players because I got a lot of them and you'll be fulfilled. You'll be doing your thing and be happy. Emily was, an incredible gymnast and she'd never tell you that.
You're right. Exactly. You would never know.
So humble. And yeah,
Yeah.
dude, I remember like she would, and so I was treating all those gymnasts
Yeah.
and they would call and ask to see me. And I'm like, no, you need to see Emily. You don't understand. She was a freak. Like
Yeah.
she just
Yeah.
got inducted to the Nebraska Hall of Fame. Like you need to go
Hmm.
see her. And
Right.
then they would, and they connect with that and she would connect with those people. And I think
Yeah.
that was kind of the magic behind it was just like fostering what people get excited about and trying to make it
Mm.
happen as often as possible. So, I always like, I can't talk about this topic without mentioning how Matt started because he was my right hand man for a long time. And when I had the building like sticks, like literally, I got a picture of it, literally sticks up, and there was just a sign out front that said like engineer performance, like sports med and performance training. And Matt just called me. And he's like, "Yo, I just saw the sign. Want to know what you're doing? I'm a physical therapist, former soccer player. Really want to be involved in the space." And I was like, dude, I don't even have a building yet. Like, and I'm going to be doing it for myself for a while, but we'll keep in touch. And that dude did what I did at Exos, right? He called me all the time. And I remember when the day that I left, like for a lunch break, I was like, dude, I am overwhelmed. I got so many people on schedule. I can't do this myself. I called him and he was at his current place of work. And I was like, dude, I need help. And he's like, I'll be there right now. And he literally got up and left at lunch. He met me at lunchtime. And was like, when do I start, dude?
Wow.
Yeah, it's just like how easy is that? Like, of course you
Yeah.
have, like that's just who wants to be there. So, and that just
Yeah.
continually happens. So, I think I
Yeah.
was,
Yeah. Love that.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like, I mean, just your journey and what you've built. It sounds like everything that I've once perceived. So to hear a guy like yourself that has done such great work for such a long period of time, to hear you essentially say, man, if you have human capital and if you're honest, right, you have all the currency you need to sustain yourself, right? I always tell everybody, a business bank account, your bank account, like obviously those things are important, especially when you're trying to grow something. But if you're putting that before the bank account of people that you have, right, that see who you are, see that authenticity that you speak about, I mean, you're not going anywhere. And it sounds like for a guy that was pretty grassroots at the beginning, I mean, you just stayed true to that, and which is tough to do in our industry. I tell Brandon all the time, one of the things I struggle with as a professional is I have like super high conviction about everything. So I tend to get super, super passionate, sometimes maybe even like aggressively passionate.
that's good.
Um, because for me, it's like, man, it's easy to fall into the vanity of what we do,
Yes.
especially in 2025. I mean, come
Hmm.
on, we have junior high kids emoting, you know, uh, on football fields or the field of play, rather the things that they see on Fortnite,
Right.
and they're getting applauded for it. Whereas I remember when I was trying to celebrate in the end zone when I was 9 years old, I got put on punishment.
I'm about to say you about to get
You know,
you damn near get cut.
man,
God
yeah, yeah,
dang,
yeah, yeah.
man.
That'd be the last time you told my football. Like it's so, man, I gotta give you your flowers, for that because that's difficult to do, and you stood the test of time, man. So I gotta give you your flowers, and it gives a young guy like myself inspiration to keep going and keep trying to do what I'm attempting to do because I'm telling you, man, it's tough not to want to keep up with the Joneses in 2025 for
Mhm.
sure.
Man, I understand that. I mean, thanks for summarizing like essentially what I was trying to say. And I haven't heard anybody put it like that, like human capital and being honest. And man,
Mhm.
that is exactly what I think if you just maintain like your eyesight on those two things, that's what's worked unintentionally for us. So I love that. Thank you.
And it's simple. At least in my mind, I think about this space, and again, maybe it's just because I watched how Engineer Performance operates, being a part of it and everything like that. It's just to you guys' point to keep driving home that because I think it's important for anybody that either wants to step into this industry or they want to start their own business, facility, anything like that, whatever the case may be. Um, like Rock said, it is hard not to get caught up in the vanity of it because it looks so different than what it started out as typically anything does, right? You know, you got strength coaches that can make a lot of freaking money nowadays, right? With the advent of social media and how you can market yourself, how you can do all these different things like that. Like it's very attractive, for somebody to want to get into this space, but not understand like the grind and the grunt work that goes into it. And I think most times what happens when you get into the space, I think, in my opinion, I think two things can happen. You either do it the way that you guys have done it, right? And you stay true to that, and you stay organic to that, and you ingratiate yourself within the community and let the community feed and support you and all that kind of stuff. Or you get caught up in chasing the vanity, the glitz, the glamour, the everything in between, right? And people start to sniff that out. You'll be surprised that more people, more times than not, they'll sniff that out and say, I don't really want to be a part of that, right? Because I think about even the athletes that I coached when I was there, man, like to your point earlier, like, man, I trained some of the best athletes that I ever laid hands on coming through the
Mhm.
doors of Engineer Performance in Iowa, right? Like people would think of, your Texas, your Cali's, all that stuff like that. It's like, man, there's some dogs that have come through there, right? And I think, in my opinion, just how you guys have been able to ingratiate yourself in just the Ankeny community, right? It just feels right. It feels connected. It feels honest. It feels transparent. All those things like that. So, I guess just like kind of drive home that point, man. What has that meant to you, serving the Ankeny community specifically? Because I think they play a huge part in how you guys have been able to scale this thing.
It means everything to me. They really did embrace us out of the gate. I mean, it took some time. It took some work where we had to like, navigate different paths that I didn't love at the beginning.
Mhm.
So like, right away out of the gate, we did a lot of like adult fitness
Yeah.
training stuff. And that was
Yeah.
because that was the best opportunity I had at the moment where, there's wild egos in high school strength and conditioning and weight rooms. It is weird to me.
Hmm.
High school coaches specifically will feel like, these are my athletes. I don't,
Yes.
what are we doing? We're talking about a high school athlete. I'm on your side. I want them to win just as bad as you do.
Hmm.
And so, we had to really build trust with some of them where it was like, I want them to win, and then you take all the credit. I don't even want to put my
Right.
name on them. That's fine. I just want like that's cool. I just want them to do well. And then when they started noticing that, and then the athletes, the better athletes started coming in, the coaches had no choice but to be like, we're all right. I'll never forget Matt specifically. Like we didn't have a great relationship with the local high school strength and conditioning coach, and we just kind of ignored it, just let it play its thing. And then Matt came back to work after lunch break one day, and he had to go up to the hardware store for something.
Yeah.
And he came back, he's like, "Dude, I think we're in." I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I just saw Coach so and so, and he shook my hand at Ace." I was like, "All right, I think we're in progress." And
Yeah.
so, and that worked, man. Then when the best athletes were doing well, and they were talking to the coach, like, "Hey, man, they're just like filling some gaps here. There's 70 of us in this weight room. I get to go in there and work on things that are specifically bothering me." And they're listening to me. I did talk to a clinician when my back hurts, and like that type of stuff. Just it started to build trust with those guys, and it did mean the world. And now we have a great relationship with all of them, and it's
Mhm.
fun for me because I went to the last football game I went to. We didn't go to the local one. I went to one of the little because we had some kids that were traveling to play to train with us, and I wanted to see them play.
Yeah.
Walked in there, into the football field, into the stadium, and a little dude, he had to be like 11 or 12. He walks up and he's like, "Hey, you're the EP guy." And I was
Mhm.
like, "My man, like,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know who
yeah.
you are, but that's awesome. I
Yeah.
absolutely love that you recognize who we're doing, who we are, what we're doing." And the same thing happened just yesterday. Our Ankeny volleyball girls are doing really well right now, and I wasn't able to go, but a few of the PTs were. And they came to work today and they're like, "Dude, it's so cool. We're like celebrities in there. Like everybody's
Mhm.
talking. They're so happy to see us. They're giving us hugs." And I'm like, I love that. And that high school kids aren't doing that if they don't mean it. Like they,
Right.
they can tell that you care about them. And now you're going on your time off to go see them play and celebrate them. And like, that's the coolest. I love that. And I feel like that's like some of that glitz and glam. Like, yeah, it's not always driving like the coolest car, but maybe it's like, filling your cup. Like you feel successful when you're talking to these kids and they can tell that they care about you. You've made an impact in their lives. And I think that's something to be pursued too.
Yeah. My bad, Rock, I'll let you get to it. I was just gonna just kind of drive home this point because you kind of alluded to it already. Joey, I was going to ask you, I don't know if there's anything else you want to elaborate on this, but I was going to ask you, um, in your opinion, what is a way to bridge that gap between the high school strength coach and the coaching staff as a whole, and the private sector of what we do? Because I even think about the inception of kind of like the own separate private entity of training facilities. Um, Again, it looks totally different than what it was back in the day. Like even out here in Texas, there's this place called Performance Course, that they kind of hit the scene with all the high schools out here, right? Which I was pretty surprised with, to be honest, because like it's North Texas, man. Like you can pay strength coaches,
Yeah.
six figures out here, and stuff like that, right? So and you can get really good ones. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So there has to be this like give and take, right? Of like, how can I support you without you feeling like I'm stepping on your toes and ego getting involved? Because that's one thing that me and him talk about all the time is like, I do believe that in this space you can avoid ego. It's everywhere. Like you just
Yeah.
have to learn how to manage it, right? You got to learn how to kind of just operate around it, but there's no way around it. But I just was really interested. I was thinking about questions I want to ask you, and I was really interested to ask you about how you guys manage that time, right? But also like, what would you say to somebody that is, in the private sector, like, man, I'm trying, and they won't give me the time of day. Like, is this all for nothing? You know?
I get it. I get it. We're into the same walls. I think there's a couple things we did that worked well. The first was when I was able to talk to him, which was hard enough. But when I
Yeah.
finally had a conversation in front of him, I framed everything. Dude, it's funny that I say this because this is the same way I have to talk to orthopedic surgeons to get their training. You frame everything in terms of like, you're the best at this. Let me support you. And so it very much was like, I love what you guys are doing. I understand how difficult it must be to have 70 kids in there at once. Give me your bottom 1% and your
Mm,
top 1% that need a little extra time,
mm,
and then build, like, I'll be able to build that on. So if I get the worst of the worst, the kids that need like a lot of direction, the kids that move like baby deer, you know what I
mm,
mean?
mm,
Like you're not going to be able to put 70 kids in a room and have them all squat. And if five of them can't move at all, they don't know where their feet are, you're going to have to spend your entire time with them. Give those kids to me. Let me figure that
mm,
out, give them back a better athlete, and then you take it from there. By that point, honestly, we probably have a relationship. Then again, the top few kids, like they know they can't give them everything they need at that level because there's so many kids in there. And if we got a kid who's an MLB prospect, like he's gonna find some more help, and he's
right.
gonna apply to you, or you can come to me where we can open up a line of communication, and I'm gonna be like at your service, talking to you on how we can like collaborate on this. That seemed to work a lot. And what happened was those top few kids, like the Brodies, and Brody really helped because he essentially told his coach, like, I'm gonna go to Engineered Per4mance. Like,
Yeah.
you have to collaborate with them, especially like on the injury side.
Right.
Injury side helps a little bit because we got the sports meds. So like, if kids hurt, that's outside of their scope anyway.
Correct.
So we're gonna be seeing it. And then that opens up the door at least for that conversation. Like, hey, this kid does have, a pars fracture. Like, let me explain to you what that is, and then how you might want to modify training. And that started to build up some relationships too, and that certainly helped. Outside of that, it was constant communication that I am just all about celebrating the athlete. proving to the coaches that I'm celebrating the athlete. Like I'm not putting my name on them. Like when I like going to the games, I'm going to the games and giving them high fives. I'm talking about what this kid needs. And it's not all for marketing purposes. I'm not going to take a picture of it every time and put it on social. And
Mhm,
I
mhm,
just want
mhm.
them to do well. And I think they eventually sniff that out too.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
hope. So
Yeah. 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 Rock, I don't know if you got something to add to that, brother.
No, I was just gonna ask what was Brody's name?
Rick.
Brody.
Rick.
bro, you're hooked.
I don't think I've met him.
He's a
Maybe I
stud,
I've
think.
man.
I've talked to you about him before. You probably heard me talk about him before.
I think that's what it is. I was about to say I think
Yeah.
I've heard you talk about him
Yeah,
before.
man,
Yeah.
he's great. He was a phenomenal baseball player and a good football player. He wanted to play football really bad, but
Real
his
bad.
his baseball. And so he went to Iowa and he played both. And I tried to convince him not to. But I'll never forget, like
Yeah.
dude, he was there a few weeks in and he sent me a picture. He sent me and Matt a picture of his thumb just on the wrong side of his
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm there trying
Ah,
to
I
throw
remember
in
that.
hand. He's like, sure is. Got like down blocked. And I'm like, are we done yet? Can we like focus?
My,
right,
my,
right.
my
Let's
guy,
keep
my
it
guy up there throwing 100 off the bump and be like, "Come on, Brody! Like, come on, man! What we doing?"
right. And you worried about a
105 going
down
on
block.
again. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a
you trying to yeah. He want to strap the helmet up and not step off the mound.
And I get it. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it's energizing. Like
yeah,
I mean,
man. You go to University of Iowa, man, playing in front of all them fans,
Yeah,
man.
dude. I
You're a
remember
good
him
ball
saying
player.
like he's like, I've dreamt about coming out of that tunnel. I'm like, that's fair. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You get the opportunity to do that. I guess you do it. That's cool. At the same time, like you got a multi-million-dollar arm right now. I might want to
Right.
start making business decisions.
100%.
Absolutely.
Keep the main thing the main thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, hey, what do you think? Now let's talk. We talked about kind of the intersection of or the collaboration, trying to get the collaboration between the private sector and the high school entity. Was it strategic? I guess this question just popped in my head. Was it strategic for you guys to be more heavily focused? I feel like at the high school level because I see other facilities and you know, kind of have seen how they operated and things of that nature, or maybe just individual coaches. And it seems like there's always this aggressive push for, I want to get the college or I want to get the pro guy in here, right? Where kind of like all your marketing goes in that direction. High school is kind of on the back burner as far as the classes go and the attention to detail. And it seems like you guys did the kind of the inverse of it. And I honestly think I'm interested to hear your thoughts. I think that that has allowed you guys to withstand the test of time as a facility because facilities usually don't make it, right? But I feel like you guys being able to withstand the test of time and then be able to scale, right, to the partnership with DMOS and all the different things like that. I feel like that came from the outpouring into specifically that demographic and being like, we are going to make sure that they are set up for the next level. If they come back, great. We would love to have you. But nonetheless, we're just trying to prep you guys and get you there. Because I think about when I was coaching, man, I didn't coach any college guys, I don't think. A lot of athletes getting ready to go to college. But even I feel like from a programming perspective, right? Everything is so dummied down, and I don't mean that as a negative term, but it's so dummied down all the way to the foundations of like, man, we got to get y'all moving properly, right? And if we can build those foundations, just how you move, we was working on you just landing and jumping, you know what I mean, and different things like that. It's like before I even put a bar on your back, man, like you can't even step off this box, man, like without falling, brother, like without this caving, without this doing, you know what I mean? So I feel like you guys' attention to detail, specifically with that demographic and younger. Shoot, my youngest class I had, man, Rock, my youngest class at EP, I think I had what, 9 year olds, I think, or something like that, man. But bro, they're doing the
So
same
big.
thing though. They're doing the same movements. We're not maybe putting a bar on their back, right? But they may have a kettlebell, or we're working on just how they land, how their posture, all those different things like that. So was that strategic for you guys to attack it that way?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it too with those little kids too. We're just convincing them to play games, man. Because
Right.
again, the world has changed. Like, I don't think we got high school kids that come in, they can't skip, like just a normal
Man, it's
skip.
crazy how they can't skip,
They
bro.
can't move. I attribute a lot of it just the way the world's changing. I don't think they're playing as much outside. And
Mhm.
so yeah, we have to get down to the basics. And I think it makes them again, if the vision is like remain focused on what's best for the athlete, I think sending them to college with like a 500-pound squat, but you can't skip is underprepared. That's not what's best for the athlete.
It's
And so
malpractice, brother.
yeah, and like so I focus on that heavily. So yeah, we work with the younger kids, and then again, too, I also think something that plays into that is like in Iowa, like we don't have pro sports, dude. So our pro athletes are our college athletes. Like
True.
those are the kids that like the Hawkeyes are the kids that my high school kids are really looking up to.
True.
That's who they want to be. I don't think they're really not looking past that too far
Mm,
at this
mm.
level because they're like, I just want to come out of that tunnel, like Brody
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
And I think that helps a lot too. And I think it's the demographic that we just have we have this hold on because they can still sense like what good quality care is and they're eager. They really want it. I talk a lot about my time at Exos at some point. I remember working with a couple with a couple NBA guys
Mhm.
who like were incredibly skilled. Obviously, that's how they got there. But these guys did not want to be in the weight room. They were there because they had to be.
Yeah.
And that was miserable for me too. Like I hate it. I remember one guy specifically was like, Joe, I just want a ball. I'm like, I know, dude, but we're here. Let's get this done.
Yeah.
And I hated that because I had to like, push him.
Yeah.
I don't like that. The group that I got are the kids that are like, they smell the next level. Like they're eager. So I'm almost holding them back for a lot of things. And those are
Mm,
the kids that I mean are going to actually make change. At the same time, like I'm putting my name on your chest. I want you to improve. Like
yeah.
that's important. If people know that you're coming here, it's important that you show up and you get the work done. And I think like those eager, hungry high school kids are the ones that find their way in. And those are the kids that just they do well and they excite me too. So yeah, it was strategic in the fact that like they're the ones that are available for the most part right here that are looking for training and the ones that I feel like we can make the biggest impact on
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Rock, you got anything?
Right. I mean, and they're there year round, right? So even from
Yeah.
like a business perspective, I mean, you never have to look for work per se. And I think that too, there's probably some fulfillment in knowing that you can like play a role in their life through the life cycle of their development. As you know, and I'm glad B asked that question because that's kind of one of the things I've run into as a professional out here in Dallas. When I came out here. I immediately took a job with Exos and this facility at the time, I mean, it was like 99.99999% pro athletes.
That's all
So
it was, man.
whenever, man, so whenever I jumped ship and was like, man, I'm gonna do my own thing. I didn't have a high school Rolodex. I mean, I knew of high school kids. I mean, they're probably the children of like agents and players, maybe.
Right.
But I mean,
Exactly.
I didn't really know anything about it. And so I'm glad B asked all the questions about the high school and the youth because I mean I'm really over here just soaking up a lot of knowledge, man, for real. Um, because it sounds like where you come from, like I said, like B has reiterated a couple times, like that's where I'm at, as a professional. Um, so yeah, man, that's pretty dope.
I'm
You you
excited for
you
it,
you
dude.
you dropping. Like, I'm learning as we're chopping with you. You know what I'm
Good,
saying? So
good. I'm excited for you, man. I get eager about stuff like that. I think there's like
yeah,
so we talk a lot too about like we get asked who our competition is in the area. I'm like, dude, they exist, but there are none because there are so many high school athletes here. Like it is hilarious that people look at people like what we're doing as competition and like fighting over crumbs when dude the pie is huge here. Like
Huge.
there's so many
yeah.
high school athletes. So just again, just be like what you said, just be honest and have some good people around you. And I think it feeds itself.
Absolutely.
Outside of that, and that might just be the answer to this question, but I have kind of a generic question on like, what do you think the industry needs more of? Because again, that's something that I know me and my brother Rock talk about often. At the coffee shop and stuff when we get to griping and fussing and everything, where we just like, man, like I don't like this, and why we can't stop doing this? And like one of my biggest gripes always was I just don't see enough collaboration in this space, and that bothers me because it just doesn't make sense to me. And I think we act like the market is so overly saturated, and I think it's honestly just a little bit of drama. Like it's not as bad as we try and make it. It's just you're just fighting for the same type of athlete. But I think that if you get into this business and you just want top dogs all the time, right? Then you feel like you're in competition all the time, right? Because you will be, right? Because everybody wants them. But if you look at this from a perspective of I'm really just trying to develop athletes and holistically serve athletes, then you see all the opportunities where that can be done. And more importantly, I feel like you get to see where, hey man, I could support you in this way, and then you could support me in this way. Like, how do we do that? And maybe it's a pipe dream, maybe it can never really work that way. But I feel like we act like it's impossible, and I'm like, bro, it really is doable if you just get your guard, let your guard down. Let me support you where I can support you. You can support me the same way, shape, and form because it is about the athlete. It is about them. And I I would rather make no money. I would rather have a, not a super thriving business or anything like that, but have that be the perception of me and how I do business is that I holistically care about these guys' well-being, not just as they're playing, right? But as they continue to transition into whatever it is, giving them resources to be able to do that effectively. Like I feel like, in my opinion, until the industry can get there collectively, where we're really about that business of really serving these guys as humans, right? Then I think that this industry could be pretty unstoppable, bro. And people can really see, like, yo, I have a lucrative business or I make a ton of money. Not saying that those are the reasons why we do it, but I'm saying it's byproducts, right? I think everybody could be way more satisfied in this space if we collectively would start to do that. To that, what do you say? Actually, I want to hear from both you guys, how you guys feel about that, honestly. Like,
Yeah, dude, I mean, that's everything to me. I think it's a mindset of abundance. Like I
yeah,
think if you recognize that everybody's there and there's the tide, like rising tide lifts all ships. It's so true. I remember coming out of school and I went and met with like all the different people who people would consider my competition right now. And I remember them being kind of freaked out that I was even asking for a meeting because, and then I remember one specifically where I was like, how do we improve this? Like the narrative right now is not great. What's going on right now is not great. Like, how do we get better? And they're like, how do we? I think they were like shocked that like I was bringing, I'm like, yeah, dude, there's kids everywhere. Like we need to be better at this. How can we work together? Like you guys are treating people that, you can't. I honestly think too, just doing the math. If you look at the math at how many athletes you actually need to have a successful business versus the amount of kids that are around you, like what are we even fighting about? This is a joke.
yeah,
Like, how
yeah.
many people? Like yesterday, we held a combine at our Waukee spot. 64 kids signed up and 99 showed up.
Oh,
Dude, I
wow.
can't handle 99 kids. Like
Yeah.
there's too many people. They, they
Mhm,
they they need help. And so I need other people that are doing it well too. And
mhm.
so I think having that mindset like also attracts other people like that. And it's funny because you're like, I don't need all the money if I keep, dude, if you keep your mindset on that, I think the money follows that because the kids recognize that. And that's the quality that I think follows. So
Mhm,
I think you're
mhm.
on the right path for sure.
Yeah.
What about you, Rock? I think
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I love everything you said. I mean, I feel like, on the other side of that coin, just as you are a professional that seeks that help, right, and is looking to bring people on your ship for a season, or a couple of seasons, I think more professionals also need to be eager and need to yearn to help other practitioners out. One of the things I think I've done uniquely in this market, and B's been able to see it, kind of flourish into what it's become in such a short period of time. But my business model off the rip, and I didn't even know if it was going to work. It's just the thing that made the most sense to me was, to your point, I don't necessarily have to work with every athlete. I just have to put myself in position to help everybody who works with every athlete, right?
Mhm,
Meaning,
mhm,
like I'm going and seeking a Joey out,
mhm.
where it's like, hey man, look, this is what I notice about what you're doing, and or the athletes that you're working with. I'm not here to take, mooch, poach, whatever. I just want to know if I can assist you in any way,
Yeah.
and in planning myself, where the needs are found, from my perspective, like, I work with several different companies out here in the Dallas area, at the same time, I'm all at once. All of them have a different need. I just kind of insert myself there, and at the end of my day, I go home.
yep,
And I found that it's, to your point, it's a little shaky with some professionals out here because they're like, he's selfish. What is he doing? And it's like, if I'm selfish, I'm trying to figure out a way to house myself in one spot and just take everybody, whether that be, price gouging or, pulling the rug from under you from a price perspective, because I know all the charts, I know all the numbers, right? Or figuring out a way to get your camera person or your marketing person to jump on board with me. Like, but it's so there's been some pushback there, but for me, I can't tell you how many different hoodies I have with different logos in my closet right now, and I wear them all proudly, and I support them all proudly because at the end of the day, we have to be the change we want to see in the industry, And so for me, I actually look for opportunities to help. Like, man, I'm not asking you to employ me per se. I don't even want to, be a burden to your expenses in that regard. Just let me know what makes sense for you so I can come in and I can take that load off your plate. When you don't need me anymore, hey, I'm good. I'll go about my business. Call me same time next year. I'll be here for you.
Yep.
You
I
know.
think again, that's that abundance mindset, man. Just trying to be of service to people, and people notice that. Like I recently bought something from somebody online that I didn't really need it, but I felt like I owed them because I've been learning from their Instagram stuff for so long that I was like, they got a product now that's for sale. I'm gonna buy that. Like
That's
I'm gonna
good.
give them back. You know what I mean? Like I love that. And I remember that same person has given like little lectures on social media about like a lot of the products I sell have recycled material from the stuff I'm giving away for free on social media. And that's because I'm here to serve and like want people to understand what I'm trying to teach. I love that. And I feel
Yeah.
like I'm attracted to that. And I feel like other people are too. Like give, give, give. And then when you have to ask for something, the right people with the right mindset are going to be there. And I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it, man. We gonna wrap up pretty soon. I don't want to keep you all night, man. But I did want to hear. I got to see a little bit of it from the back seat, but I do want to um, hear you talk about how the vision evolved to, the partnership that you guys walked yourself into and all that. I know it was a ton of work. Remember how stressed out you were trying to get that thing done, man. So, was that something that was always the goal, right? To kind of pivot into that type of, collaborative effort, or did it kind of just stumble upon you as you began to continue to operate the business over the years? You were like, hey, like this is kind of sort of falling in my lap. This might be a good you know, direction for the business to head in. I kind of want you to touch on that if you don't mind, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think a lot of time when I do a little bit of the consulting stuff, people get a little bit shocked when they're first starting out and I ask them what their exit plan is. Because I think you have to know that because a lot of people get into this industry because they're passionate about it. But let's be realistic, you're not gonna be able to coach, 5, 6, 7 hours a day when for the next 40 years. Like it's just
Yeah,
not gonna happen. You're gonna get burnt out. We
yeah,
have to have an exit plan. And in terms of like you also got to take care of, a potential family and who's next after you. And I think it's really important to start thinking about that stuff. And so out of the gate for us, it was I thought about it, and what I wanted to do eventually was sell my practice to an orthopedic center. But to be honest with you, I had that planned out like 30 years from now, right? So
gotcha.
it was gonna be my retirement plan. And it's crazy because I wrote the email that I was gonna send to Dr. Brunkhorst, one of the surgeons at DMOS. I wrote the email that I was gonna send just asking for a connection with the leadership there. And I had it in my phone and it was just in my notes section. I wasn't gonna send it until I was honestly, it was like something I just looked at for motivation like 30 years from now. Like,
Hmm.
this is how I'm going to get my foot in the door because this is my plan.
Hmm.
And then what happened was, as we started working with more athletes, we started doing a lot of ACLs. Um, we started referring to DMOS a lot because they had an isokinetic machine that we couldn't afford and some testing that we really needed some data from to do the best work. Again, that collaborative effort just paid off because we sent them there and they started noticing and we got a call. I mean, I got a call from the president of the board there and he was like, why you're a private practice? Like, why are you referring to us so often? What's going on? I was like, well, you're sending them back. Like, you've got this machine. I think it's awesome, and I want that data. And I want to work with you guys. I want to hear more.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't have surgeons on the team, and so he's like, right out of the gate there, he was like, well, can I come out and see the place and see what you guys are doing? So, president of the board and the CEO came out of DMOS. They just toured. We showed them around, talked to them about what they did. And then at the end, they're just like, bought in. They're just like, we love your vision. We love what you guys are doing. We want to be a part of it. He's like, how do we strengthen this relationship? And, I didn't really know at the time. I was like, I like where it is. I like what's going on. Like, let's try to improve some like networking, I guess. Like right now, when I try to talk to doctors, sometimes it takes like a fax, it takes several emails. Like we got to go through all these things. Maybe there's a better way. Like can I get a private number? Like, can we just talk to
Yeah.
people right away? Be a little bit easier. And he's like, he goes, well, would you ever consider just like coming under our umbrella? Would you consider a purchase? And my big, I was excited, but at the same time, I was like, it's got to stay this. Like it can't be burnt to the ground. And what excited me the entire time was like, Joey, he was like, we have the ability to go add more physical therapists if we need more physical therapists. Like we can buy or we can go rent a new facility and then put new staff in there. He's like, we want you guys, and we're willing to like pay more than we would just hire more people because we want what you guys are doing. So why would
Wow.
we do burn it down, right?
Wow.
So that sold me, and that helped a lot. And as you said, it was stressful because I had to go through it probably ended up being close to 2 years of like negotiations and trying to figure everything out, like, what is in a contract and then what isn't in a contract, and like just having to trust some people. On top of that, like I felt just a massive burden on my shoulders because not only was it like my baby, like I poured my heart and soul. I slept at that place more. I slept at home for
Hmm.
years.
Hmm.
This is my baby, and now I'm handing it to somebody and trusting them that they're going to do right by it. But then on top of that, I had a staff that I just, like I mentioned, some of my best friends and people that really like, they ate it for me. Like they went to bat for me so often, and I felt a massive responsibility to do what's right for them.
Yeah.
And that I wanted to make sure that that was the right move.
Hmm.
It was the right move in terms of like right away, I was like, you know what? They're gonna be able to pay them more than I'll ever be able to pay these guys. Like they
Hmm.
got contracts with insurance companies, and that some of these guys deserve that. And if they
Yeah.
keep it this way, like they deserve to be compensated in the right manner. And so, my job now is like a lot just trying to maintain that culture, to be honest. Like I try to make sure that my clinicians and my strength coaches are fulfilled and living the life that they want to live in terms of like treating the right people and training the right people, have time so that they can build these like report cards like we just built and all these things. And that's been great, man. My job sense is just like maintain the culture, and I love it like that. So that's how it evolved. And there's always hiccups. Like working for corporate now is a lot different than working for me. For a lot of
Yeah.
that was a hard lesson for some people, but we've learned and moved on, and we're getting better.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I appreciate you breaking down that, but also talking about like um having an end goal in mind, right? Like how do you want to finish this thing? Because to your point, like when I first came on board with you guys, I was married but I didn't have any kids, you know what I mean? So, I got the free time, I got the energy, I got all that kind of stuff like that. Fast forward now, I can't imagine, you know what I mean, stepping back into a space like that without thinking the way that you just articulated it, right? Like that's a responsible thing to do. That's the right thing to do, right? So with that being said, I just want to lastly kind of just, make sure I hit on like the personal side of you, just a bit because, I do think that you are a great husband, a great father. I see how much you're involved in your kids' activities, their lives, their development, everything in between. And honestly, it's inspiring to me because you're a business owner. And I know the demands that are placed on you, you know what I mean? And that were placed on you in the past and everything like that. And it just seemed like, not saying it was easy, but I think you made a commitment to still, be involved, to still take care of home. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's necessarily a question. Maybe it's just a hats off to you, man, and bravo for doing that. But I guess maybe if I did try and pull a question out of that, it'd just be like, what was that process like? Did you have to, kind of have some pitfalls and some kind of Jesus moments where you have to look yourself in the mirror and be like, hey, I'm dropping the ball here. I need to tighten up here. I need to pivot here. I need to, do whatever to kind of make it more seamless.
Brother, like, yeah, hearing you say that, I really appreciate that because no, I did drop the ball so
Mhm.
hard, so many times. Like
Yeah.
it became I was like pathological with my
Mhm.
work ethic at some points where it was like it was not good. Like it was bad. Where I was, like I said, I'd sleep at EP more than I'd
Yeah.
sleep at home. I would be there because I loved it. And
Hmm.
that did become an issue for sure because I remember very specifically one phone call I took at the dinner table. Like I was eating dinner with my family, my phone rang, and like my wife for sure gave me that side. Like she looked at it, I'm like, I gotta take this. And at the moment too, like I felt like what was best for my family was making the business successful. And before it was successful, I was like, I have to do everything I can to make this be something so that we can have this house and we can
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
food on the table. And like that felt like the right thing to do. I learned later that like you can put boundaries on that and still be successful. And that was something that I was not aware of it. And to be honest, for all the good things I said about my parents earlier, I think I learned a pathological work ethic from them because I
Hmm.
still do anything that they had to do, to the point where sometimes I would feel like it was justified to drop the ball elsewhere.
Yeah.
And then, eventually became something that it wasn't, right?
Yeah.
Like my wife made it very clear that like this is not working. Like you
Uh-huh.
have to figure out a way to run the business and still be home and still be like present.
Yeah.
And that was a come to Jesus moment. And it did spark a lot of the fire for the acquisition too, because I was like, this seems like a way where I can go home at 5 and
Hmm.
be home. And
Yeah.
and on the weekend I'm home. Whereas when you're a business owner, you guys know you're not. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was at work all the time, even when I'm at my son's football game. Like if there's something going on at the business, like I'm the guy that got called.
Yeah.
And that was a big motivating factor for it. But at the same time, I recognize now that there's boundaries you can put around it, and I do a much better job of that.
Yeah.
But it's also become like my highest priority. And I love that
Mhm.
you recognize that and you see that from afar, because yeah, my kids are everything, man, and they grow up so damn fast. Like it's crazy to me. And
Yeah.
so I want to teach them that work ethic. At the same time, I want to show them that like they are the most important thing to me right now, and I want them to have that kind of instilled moving forward as
Well,
well.
man, you giving out so much game tonight, man. I not to put you on the spot with this by any means, but what are some of those for somebody, for a clinician, for a coach, for a business owner? They don't even got to be in sport; it could just be a business owner in general. What are maybe some easy boundaries that you think are some things they can put in place and in the practice where, you know, they don't have to maybe run into those pitfalls if you have any. If you don't, no
Yeah.
problem. But
I mean, what helped me the most was, it sounds so simple, it was literally time blocking. I would have time where I would say, this is the time I'm going to answer all my emails. Any email I get after that isn't getting answered till the next time block that's emails, right?
mhm,
And
mhm,
then
mhm.
this is the time that I'm going to spend reaching out to all the people that I want to reach out to and try to connect to. And any time after that, I'm not doing that, right?
Yeah.
And as long as like, obviously that gets tweaked as you go to make
Mhm.
sure that it's optimal. But as long as I stick to that, it honestly made me feel better, because a lot of times I would sit just like a little anxious, like what didn't I do that I could be doing now? And instead, once I started doing that, I was like, that's okay, because I got a time for that tomorrow. I know when
Mhm,
that's done,
mhm,
That
mhm.
made me feel better, because if I didn't do that, I just felt like, and it's true, I could always be doing something, right? There's always something to be done on the business.
Yeah.
And if you let that take over, you will be doing something all the time. And I had to stay away from that. So the simplest thing that worked the best for me was just like being able to block my time with specific duties that needed to be done and sticking, like staying true to it. And we're good at that typically, right? Like with in things like staying true to commitments to ourselves. Like that's why we like working out.
Yep.
Like we
Yep.
got in history for that. Like we'll wake up when we don't want to wake up, because we've made a promise to ourselves. And so it's just making one more promise to yourself that like I'm not doing that outside of this time. And that was huge.
That's
So
great, man. Thanks for breaking that down. Rock, you got anything, man?
No, he actually answered the question I was going to ask him. When you talk about, keeping the main thing at work, but also keeping the main thing at home, like being able to be present at home. Because the question I was going to ask was, were there certain things that you did with the business to accommodate for that? Because I think culturally within our industry, which I truly disdain, I disdain it within my heart. I'm trying so hard not to say hate, but I definitely disdain it. Is that you're applauded for basically putting yourself in a terrible position, whether it be mentally, spiritually, emotionally,
Yeah.
within your family, romantically. They applaud within our industry the carrying out of duties to that point, right? So how do we combat those things, and whether or not you had put things in place for your business to kind of help combat those things? But you answered that question already, um,
agree with you,
because
dude. I'm
it's
disgusted by it. It's true. Everybody
yeah,
applauds like, oh, they're working themselves to death. I'm like, that's not good to me.
Yeah.
Like
all right,
for
all
life.
right.
Yeah, I don't get it. I love it. I agree with you.
And I think too is one of those things like hearing you say like, man, like I slept at the facility. Like I think it rings true as it pertains to what your mission is, and I think I share a little bit in that mission as well, if not completely, right? Hearing you say, man, I slept at the facility. The last facility that I worked at before moving to Dallas, Texas, I was known for sleeping in the facility. I mean, we actually transitioned our offices into like a mini like studio apartment because we were sleeping in facilities and we thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Mm.
And then we started to grow within the industry and we were able to put ourselves in position kind of like yourself to kind of have our own entities and our own influence that at minimum just kept us okay, throughout the year, financially, mentally, spiritually. And we realized, dude, what were we doing? Like what is going on? Like how do we fix it? You
Yeah.
know? So it's really awesome to hear you say all those things.
Man, I agree. It felt like I think there's a season where it's okay to like recognize you're not going to hurt anybody by going all in on a passion. But then I think it's so important. Like, yeah, dude, I had this little like fold up mattress thing that I put behind my door. I remember one of the women that we hired, she walked in my office one day and like saw around the door. She's like, "What's this? You sleeping here?" Like just making fun of me because she thought there's no way that's what it was. I was like, "Nah, what?" Like, "No, I'll never do that." But yeah, that's definitely my bed. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it's not like, yeah, later on, I'm like, at the very beginning, I get it. I had to work a lot, but there became a time where I didn't, and that's what my wife would point out too. She's like, "You didn't have to do that. You did it because,"
Mm.
and it was true, and I wanted it, but I also wanted family. I wanted my family to know that I'm home too and with them. So,
Yeah, yeah. That's good, man. That's good.
Sure.
All right, we can kind of start to wrap up with this, man. I just want to know what is next for you personally, for Engineer Performance, even the family. If there's something going on with the family that you're really excited about, man, I'm interested to hear kind of what's next for you guys. Yeah, so kind of just dig into that, man. Something that we can look forward to seeing.
yeah, so EP has been focusing a lot on like club affiliations. So we're doing like the combine yesterday was our first one. We've got quite a few on the schedule, and that's exciting to me.
Mhm.
We're getting a lot more integrated with these clubs. The clubs are now really realizing that they're spending a lot of money renting spaces everywhere.
Mhm.
And so they're starting to build their own facilities.
Mhm.
And then our goal is to actually be integrated within them and go in as like satellite locations.
Yep.
So that's what we're doing there. And it's been awesome. I love it.
Good.
Personally, it's fun. I teach like the blood flow restriction classes for a company on the weekends around the country, and I love that. That really fills me up again, like giving back to like the clinicians and trying to like again raise the tide a little bit. And so I started my own like continuing ed platform. So I've been
Okay.
doing more of that. And then I
Cool.
wrote a couple classes on different things like strength conditioning for clinicians, like just some general principles, blood flow restriction for like different pathologies, so ACLs, UCLs, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'm starting to host or teach those around the country too. And so I just launched like my personal website where people are going to host or request a host, and then I'm going to go do those. And that's what's really exciting to me because the more and more I step back from the business in terms of like actually working inside of it, like I said, my job is mainly like cultural stability and then making sure that we expand properly.
Yeah.
Outside of, I want to really focus on trying to give back to like more clinicians outside of my space. And so that's what I'm focused on there. And then the family's doing awesome. I always try to be really intentional about not forcing them to do the things that I love, right? So
Yeah.
I was a wrestler, I love wrestling. My son despises wrestling and it breaks
Yeah.
my heart, but he's a football player,
Yeah,
man.
he that football guy, man. That's his thing.
He loves it. And so he like everything he does,
Mhm.
it has to be, I only can convince him to do it by saying he's gonna make you a better football player. It's like right now he's playing basketball. And boy, I gotta drag him to practice every day, but it's like, man, I promise he'll make you a better football player. Let's just be an athlete. And so we're doing a lot of that. And then my
Yeah.
daughters are softball, they play softball all the time and just love it. And so I'm trying to support, what they're doing. And then yeah, they're having a blast. The family's fun right now. We're just focused on trying to provide them the opportunities to do what they like.
Yeah, yeah, love it, man. Well, hey, brother, I appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much for taking
For
time out the schedule to get, man. You gave a lot of game, bro. I think that's what I was most
real.
excited
Yeah.
about to sit and talk to you about more than just being like, give me your story. It's like I know that you're just a well of knowledge, man. More than you maybe even know at that time. So I wanted to just give you the mic and just really just let you spit, man. I think anybody
Yeah.
that listens to this, man, they can, especially if you're in the space, like you can really jot down some notes from what you said and really grow yourself professionally. And if you have a business, grow your business or just be a better employee, a better coach, whatever, to the business that you already support. You know what I mean? So definitely thank you for kind of opening up and breaking all that stuff down for us, man. We really appreciate it.
You're more than welcome, man. This is like I said, this is my passion right now is giving back to people that are trying to do it. I get stoked about people like you guys,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
for doing it, and I feel my story and a lot of you guys, and I get excited about it. So I love this stuff, and I appreciate you guys having me on.
Absolutely, man.
Appreciate you, brother. Yes, sir.
All right, man. Well, hey, Joey Glenn, you guys go support him, check him out. The company is Engineer Performance, powered by DMOS. Did I say that right? Do you guys say powered by DMOS?
Yep.
Or something like that. Okay, yeah, yeah. So, if you're in the obviously if you're in the Iowa, Des Moines metro for sure, Ankeny, Grimes, all them areas around there, man. Waukee, you definitely go check them out. Great work over there. Great clinicians, all that good stuff, man. And even nationwide, man. Make sure you follow them on Instagram, see what they're doing, support all that good stuff like that. But that's it for us, man. Common grounds, we out.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate y'all, man.